The Chancellor's tax on jobs. Bankers were expecting to be told it was payback time, but workers and bosses are feeling the pain too after the pre-budget report. They face another increase in national insurance as public sector staff are told their pay and pensions will be capped. The measures were designed to claw back some of the rising debt, with Alistair Darling admitting the recession was deeper than thought. Sky's political correspondent Joey Jones reports.
So will we really thank him for this? Telling us like it is, laying out years of hurt to come? Just as voters' minds are turning to an election year, no Chancellor would want to have to convey a message of barely mitigated gloom. But circumstances left Alistair Darling no choice.
Order. Statement, the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Remember, though, he told the Commons, it could have been worse.
Mr. Speaker, we chose not to let people sink when they lost their jobs, but to intervene to help them stay afloat.
Spending cuts, tax rises. And why? Because Britain is deep, deep in the red.
Because of the severity of the recession, my forecast for this year's borrowing is £178 billion. Next year it will fall to £176 billion. And as the economy recovers and the deficit reduction plan starts to take effect, then it falls to £140 billion, then £117 billion, and it reaches £96 billion in 2013-14, slightly lower than I forecast in April.
The Tories enjoyed ridiculing the Chancellor, and there was more where that came from.
Mr. Speaker, we take these decisions from a position of strength. In 1997, the public services were in crisis.
The morning visit was to a hospital because frontline NHS, schools and the police are the only areas that will escape the axe. The Conservatives say the lack of overall detail on what cuts are being planned is cowardly.
That spending review is the massive missing piece of this pre-budget report. Lavish detail on the few things they say they're protecting, almost nothing on the many things they're planning to cut.
Inside this building, then, occasions like the pre-budget report are generally quite sober. They don't have the same drama as Prime Minister's questions say. But, you know, there could be some sound and fury among the public when the implications of the PBR sink in. Because let me tell you, this is going to hurt. Pain for bankers we knew about.
I've decided to introduce from today a special one-off levy of 50% on any individual discretionary bonus above £25,000.
Pain for the public sector on pensions.
Contributions by the state to public sector pensions for teachers, local government, NHS and civil service will be capped, which will save around £1 billion a year.
More pain for public sector workers on pay.
I can announce that for the 2 years from 2011, we will ensure that all public sector pay settlements are capped at 1%.
And pain for most of the rest of us.
I intend to increase all employer, employee and self-employed rates of national insurance by a further halfpence from April 2011.
The Tories were withering.
The message to aspiring families from these tax changes is pretty clear. If you want to get on in life, if you want to own your own home, if you want to save for a pension or leave something to your children, then the Labour Party is not for you anymore.
The Lib Dems know better.
We've had an economy that's been built on sand, on the assumption that property prices rise forever, on consumer borrowing, and the economy is now being rebuilt on sand.
One final thought, it wasn't all bad news.
I will cut bingo duty from 20 to 20%.
Well, that is a relief. Alistair Darling has set the scene. Now it's eyes down for a general election. Joey Jones, Sky News, Westminster.